I'm Shannon Martin. Tonight, the cleanup is underway in Ottawa after a massive police operation cleared convoy trucks and protesters who've been demonstrating for weeks in downtown Ottawa.
We have discussions, dialogues, learnings to do from what happened and occurred up to this weekend.
Nearly 200 arrests and more than 380 criminal charges over the last 48 hours. We'll have the latest on the situation on the ground.
You can spend time with your family, but the true thing is that every day is a family day.
Yes, it's Family Day long weekend. We take a look at some fun things to do around the province. The 2022 Beijing Olympics come to a close, the second games to face COVID restrictions. How Team Canada fared on the podium.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Good to be back with you. We start in the nation's capital. This is a live look at Wellington Street in Ottawa, where it's looking and sounding very different at this hour. No big rigs, no blaring horns, no big crowd of protesters. Yes, gone are the protesters that paralyzed the downtown core for the past 3 weeks. As Rafi Boudjikanian shows us, police do say they still have more work ahead.
Outnumbered 5-1 at the Coventry Road supply camp away from the city centre, not all protesters left as willingly as Matthias Lauren.
I promised my wife I wouldn't get arrested.
CBC News witnessed a handful of arrests and vehicles getting towed. In the downtown core too, there were attempts to regain ground, though they didn't last long.
We all have the right to assemble. We have the right to be here right now, right? We're not doing anything illegal. We have different views, yeah, we want to see that everybody, treated equally, fairly, due process, those kinds of things.
But by today, much of the attention was on restoring the city to what it looked like over 3 weeks ago. City crews picked up debris, while police were investigating vehicles left behind. Residents now breathing a sigh of relief after protesters made getting around difficult for many.
Look, it's so perfect. It's very clean and everything is back. I'm so happy.
Sometimes you do get yelled at and sort of harassed for wearing a mask or taking precautions that others might not. I also wanted to demonstrate where I stand on the issue, and I think the most easiest way to do that is to identify yourself by wearing a mask.
There is no word yet on when these checkpoints and fences may disappear off Ottawa's streets. And then there are the less visible marks made on a city, now asking a lot of questions about how this lasted as long as it did.
Why was this allowed to happen? How much advance notice did we have? Why was there not better protection of Wellington Street?
We know as a police service, we have public trust to gain back. We have discussions, dialogues, learnings to do from what happened and occurred up to this weekend.
City Hall voted unanimously to undertake a review of all the events leading up to January 28th, and separately there will be a public inquiry. That's triggered automatically because the federal government invoked the Emergencies Act. Meanwhile, the mayor of Ottawa says he's not opposed to shutting down Wellington Street to traffic completely, something that would have to be discussed with federal authorities. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
Meantime, in Toronto, a group gathering outside of City Hall in a show of support for the residents of Ottawa.
Healthcare workers have been subject to racist, misogynist, Islamophobic attacks simply for vaccinating and speaking out in favor of public health measures.
And there's been a lot of negative talk for people who've been spreading hate in our nation's capital, in our city. And I wanted to come to say that the majority of people, the majority of workers and community members stand with and support healthcare workers.
The rally was organized by a group called Community Solidarity Toronto. It is a coalition of labor, anti-racist, and social organizations. The group says it is inspired by and takes its name from Community Solidarity Ottawa, a group of anti-convoy protesters. Well, to London now, where a new memorial honors a family that was killed in what police say was a hate-motivated attack. The new piece of art was inspired by 15-year-old Yumna Afzal, who died alongside her father, mother, and grandmother.
She is an artist, just like myself, and I felt like it was very important for me to keep her work as original as possible. Essentially, this piece was meant to bring peace and unity.
This is what helps us realize we belong here. It's what helps us know that our neighbors care for us. And this is what helps us mend those broken hearts.
You'll remember the Afzal family was out for a walk last June when they were hit and killed. This is Yamna's painting, and you can see now how the new work retains much of her beauty and vision, including that statement, "Shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you will land among the stars." Yamna's former teacher says her legacy continues to inspire.
I already see happening is people putting a lot of effort to bring attention to Islamophobia. It's bigger than the art. It's her story as well that is creating change and creating a legacy.
The painting will hang at the White Oaks Mall in London for 3 months before moving to the London Muslim Mosque. Well, in other news tonight, some popular baby formula is being recalled. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says the products were sold across the country and could be contaminated. So far, there are no reports of any kids in Canada getting sick, but as Dale Manukduk reports, the recall now has some parents scrambling and worried.
Thursica Covington is sitting on a stockpile of Similac formula, $160 worth that she can't use.
It's pretty worrying. Like when you can't feed your child and you're going from store to store looking for formula, that's pretty stressful.
The parent company Abbott voluntarily issued the recall after consumer complaints of potentially dangerous bacteria. The voluntary recall resulted in the Canadian Food Inspection Agency advising of 20 products that could be contaminated and should not be sold or used.
My first reaction was, wow, that's a lot of products, and it's a really common product that's going to be used by a lot of families.
The recall was issued due to Chronobacter sakazaki and Salmonella, which could lead to severe illness or death in rare cases. So far, there have been no reported issues regarding the product in Canada. At 2 store locations where formula is sold, the products were removed, but plenty of other brands were available.
They're pretty tightly controlled in terms of what they can and can't be. And so there's really not a lot of difference from one brand to another.
The recall only affects powder formulas manufactured in Abbott's Michigan plant. For now, Covington is switching to a liquid version of Similac.
It's very stressful to even think about trying to switch formulas, but then the worry that, it may not be accepted.
In a news release, Abbott's vice president writes, "We deeply regret the concern and inconvenience this situation will cause parents, caregivers, and health professionals." Items have multi-digit numbers on the bottom that can be cross-referenced with the recalled products. There's no timeline on when the products will return to shelves. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Crews from Hydro One have been cleaning up this weekend after an oil spill from a transmission site leaked into the Don River in Toronto. According to a spokesperson for Hydro One, a transformer failed near Bathurst and Shepherd early Friday, releasing insulating mineral oil. Hydro One says an investigation is now underway, and they've been working with the City of Toronto as well as the Ministry of Environment and Conservation Parks. Work is expected to continue into the coming weeks and months. In Brampton, crews continue to battle what they're calling a complex flood in the historic community of Churchville.
So it is a challenge with Mother Nature. The ice jam still persists behind us, located down the river in the elbow. And what we're trying to do is break it up with machinery. So that has helped alleviate the flooding that's in the immediate area, but the ice jam is still there at this time.
So the remaining 6 homes that were evacuated were allowed to return temporarily to see the damage. Water levels have receded since Thursday. That's when flooding forced the evacuation of about 100 homes. One resident says he's concerned because his home's foundation was built in the 1800s.
So the sump pump is going 24 hours, and if the sump pump fails, the first floor fails.
Emergency responders say while water levels are improving, there's still concern for flooding with expected rising temperatures and precipitation within the next 3 days. It's a perfect time to bring in Victoria Fenn Alvarado. She's here with our first look at the forecast, and I know you've been watching this area really closely, Victoria.
Very closely, yes. Honestly, Brampton's my hometown, so this is a close-to-home story. But we do have some more rain on its way. With that flooding already in place, we could have a little bit of a problematic situation. But on top of that, temperatures are going to get even warmer. Toronto, 4 degrees, Hamilton, 5. That's for your Monday. And then as we head into Tuesday, even warmer, 7 degrees in Toronto. Now, this is the perfect mix for a messy situation with your storm drains. We already have stress on our drains, so with the ice that is going to start melting and that snow on top of the additional rainfall, I would highly recommend that you get out and clear your storm drains and do this. Monday is the perfect day to get out and go for a walk on your family day, but this will really help. We also have some standing water that could potentially freeze, so this is just going to fix the situation that could be a bad one down the road. Now, our temperatures are going to cool down, and then by Friday, some more snow. I'll get into that in your long-range forecast.
Okay, thanks, Victoria. See you soon. Well, it is Family Day long weekend for many of us. It could be the first time in a very long time that we've had a chance to catch up with extended family and friends. As Dahlia Ashry shows us, experts say it's safe to do so inside with some precautions in place. Plus, she shows us some fun things to do.
This long weekend is a chance for families to spend some time together and take a break from some daily tasks.
We both are working and the whole weeks go with the daily chores and everything, so tomorrow is a good time to spend it with family, and we started already.
But with the province recently loosening COVID-19 restrictions, up to 50 people can now gather indoors. Infectious disease specialist on COVID-19 Science Advisory Table, Dr. Isaac Bogosh, is reminding everyone to still take precautions while gathering with loved ones this long weekend, starting with being vaccinated.
And another layers of protection, of course, include rapid testing. You should remember that the rapid test is really only as good as the time it's done. And, better ventilated indoor settings are also helpful.
And for those that want to avoid indoor gatherings, they can come out and immerse themselves in some art. Now, let me tell you, it doesn't get more interactive than this. This is one of the installments here at the Harbourfront Centre. It's the Nordic Lights exhibit. Now, some of the families I spoke with said this was a great chance for them to get outdoors and enjoy some quality time with the family.
I think this is a nice, safe way to go out with the family and enjoy Family Day.
I don't think I want to keep my kid indoors anymore. I want her to explore the beautiful city.
And if you want to escape the city and brighten up your long weekend some more, you can drive out to Niagara for its Winter Festival of Lights. And you can also have an active day with the family, a chance to hit the slopes or go skating. Even Toronto City Mayor John Tory showed off his skills on ice for Family Skate Day earlier today.
There's good old skating rinks and, things like that to get people outside because they want to be outside, especially after the pandemic, and they need to be outside in terms of their wellness.
And tomorrow is officially your chance to cast a line.
All you need to do is bring some government ID with your name and address, and you'll be able to fish for free.
And whether you choose to spend Family Day indoors or outdoors, remember to swing into the occasion with love.
You can spend time with your family, but the true thing is that every day is a family day.
Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. Well, to another developing story we're watching closely tonight. New satellite images show a Russian military presence right near its border with Ukraine. And the rhetoric around a possible invasion took on a new note of urgency today. As Katie Simpson reports, the U.S. and Russian presidents have agreed to meet, in principle at least.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President.
A weekend full of high-level meetings at the Munich Security Conference failed to create any substantial diplomatic breakthroughs. The U.S. Vice President with a stark warning before heading back to Washington.
We're talking about the potential for war in Europe. I mean, let's really take a moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about.
Her alarm echoed by allies.
The plan that we're seeing is for something that could be really the biggest war in Europe since 1945, in terms of sheer scale.
The extension of Russian military exercises, the repositioning of troops, the increase in violence and provocations. It's all part of a predictable playbook, warns the U.S., all signs, they say, a Russian invasion of Ukraine is imminent.
We believe President Putin has made the decision.
But until the tanks are actually rolling and the planes are flying, we will use every opportunity and every minute we have to see if diplomacy can still dissuade President Putin from carrying this forward.
The situation is so urgent, the U.S. president held a rare Sunday meeting of his National Security Council. While French President Emmanuel Macron had a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, he then updated his U.S., UK, and Ukrainian counterparts, working the phones late into the night. The U.S. now publicly pleading with Russia to keep the lines of communication open.
President Biden is prepared to engage President Putin at any time, in any format, if that can help prevent a war.
Another sign conflict is imminent. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister cut her European visit short. After meetings in Germany with her G7 counterparts, Melanie Joly was supposed to travel to France for more conversations. But the threat is too high, and she rushed home. This situation is evolving quickly. Expect there to be more high-level phone calls, conversations, and meetings as this push for diplomacy becomes more urgent. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington. You may have heard this news today. The Queen has tested positive for COVID-19. This comes a few days after Prince Charles and his wife Camilla also tested positive. Buckingham Palace says Queen Elizabeth has mild cold-like symptoms. Here's Abby Kuja-Dawson.
She has to get better. We can't afford to lose her just yet.
The news the Queen has COVID reverberated on the streets of London.
Yeah, the thought without her is shocking, really, but I'm sure she'll be fine and she'll get back.
In a statement, Buckingham Palace confirmed she tested positive and says she'll perform light duties from Windsor Castle this week. The 95-year-old monarch's health has become a growing concern, especially after a hospital stay in October. And after this moment earlier this week,
I'm here.
In good spirits, but clearly not 100%.
Well, as you can see, I can't move.
This royal commentator finds it noteworthy that the palace revealed the news as the household rarely divulges details around Her Majesty's health.
I think the fact that they have included in this message that the Queen is expected to continue light duties, that she's experiencing mild symptoms. I think they're trying to give us as much information as possible in order to alleviate people's concerns over how she's doing.
The Queen received her first vaccine shot in January last year, and it's widely believed she's fully vaccinated, including a booster. But her advanced age makes her vulnerable.
And often, even people who develop severe symptoms eventually start off mild. So I think any person of that age will need to be monitored fairly carefully.
While it's not known how she contracted the virus, there are reports of an outbreak at Windsor Castle. Prince Charles himself tested positive last week, mere days after seeing his mother. He has since recovered and quickly returned to royal engagements. Just a short while after her coronavirus diagnosis was made public, the Queen sent her warmest congratulations to Britain's gold medal winning women's curling team, a signal to the world she intends to do what she's always done, carry on. Abby Kuja-Dawson, CBC News, London.
The 24th Olympic Winter Games may be over, but you can bet many athletes and their families are still riding high after an incredible 2 weeks of competition. Speed skater Isabelle Weideman was Canada's flag bearer, chosen for her stunning 3-medal haul of gold, silver, and bronze. Canada made the podium 26 times in all, achieving 4 gold, 8 silver, and 14 bronze. COVID restrictions meant today's closing ceremony was toned down, the pandemic's shadow prompting a plea from the IOC president.
In this Olympic spirit of solidarity, we call on the international community. Give equal access to vaccines to everybody around the world.
As is tradition at the end of any Olympic Games, the flame was put out and the IOC flag handed over to officials of the next host nation, Italy, in 2026. A massive fireworks display with a clear message to the world rounded out the ceremony. The NBA All-Star Game taking place tonight in Cleveland. It was a tight game, but in the end, Team LeBron won, and one Toronto Raptor made his first ever All-Star appearance.
The Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet.
The Raptors guard played on the winning team, Team LeBron, tonight. Canadian Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors also had his All-Star debut playing on Team Durant. Yesterday, VanVleet putting his skills to the test, competing in the three-point contest. He is the 5th undrafted player in NBA history to play in an All-Star game. Victoria is back now with our full forecast. You're talking lots of rain and then later snow too.
Yes, indeed. And honestly, this rain event is a massive event. This special weather statement stretches from Windsor all the way to the province of New Brunswick. A quite heavy rain event. I showed you the rainfall totals. Here it is once more. It's not just rain that we're looking at through certain areas such as Ottawa, for example. We could be seeing some freezing rain as well. Let's look at the timing on this. So through Monday morning, that's when it's going to, Monday evening, that's when it's going to start. And then by Tuesday evening, that's when it is a widespread rain event. Here's the mixing through Ottawa. And if you are up north or planning on traveling to the Nickel Belt through the Sudbury area, we could be seeing some snow. Now, our temperatures are going to drop with that cold front moving in afterwards. Toronto feeling more like -8 on Wednesday. London feeling more like -11. And yes, Shannon, the snow that is going to be coming. We did rule out that this is not a rain event, this is not an ice event, this is in fact a snow event through your Thursday into Friday. Now here at the Weather Network, we still are tracking as to how much snow, but right now we do have high confidence that if you are across the GTA, you're probably going to see a little bit of it. Here's a look at your temperatures. Wednesday, that's when the cool down starts. By Friday, more like -8, feeling like -15 in Toronto, and your weekend still chilly. So Monday, that's the time to get out. I mean, it's also family day, so it's the perfect opportunity to go out and spend the outdoors with your friends and family. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast for Ottawa. Thank you for having me on tonight. Back to you, Shannon.
Thanks, Victoria. That's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching.
I got so tripped.
On Monday?
I got so tripped.
Just the beginning.
Oh.
You fixed it. It's no big deal.
I got so